What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another SLA video. Guys, we have brand new characters that have released. We have brand new updates and as well major buffs on some characters that have not been touched or looked at for quite some time. And we're going to see a pretty big change on that tier list. So we're going to do an updated Hunter tier list. Plus, I want to just real quick talk about collaborations and my fear about them. You guys know that collaborations are a very limited thing that they release. There's contractual obligations with them. And if you don't get the collaboration units, you kind of SOL at the point of ever getting them in the first place. So I really do hope that Netmarble revisits this, because with this major update, one thing we've noticed is it does leave a lot of the collaboration units in the dust, whether they're the idle units or they're the units with Freerun and Fur and Stark. Some of these units are eventually going to be not viable at all, and they'll be hopefully Netmarble puts a little bit more emphasis on buffing them after their collaboration is done, because I'm scared for future collaborations and their use for a long term. I just wanted to really cover that quickly. Now, without further ado, guys, let's talk about the tier list. There's been some major movements because of all these crazy buffs. All right, guys, before we go to the official tier list, I want to remind everyone, as always, every video we do this just so new players can know this, veterans can remember. Support your boy. Hit that support button, guys. Get yourselves into the program. It's free. Brand new codes are coming your way very soon. I'll be sending it to all supporters. Plus, every single season, I give away hundreds of dollars to all supporters, and it has never failed. Join the Discord, get yourselves in, and more importantly, just hit that support button. It's absolutely free. It's linked in every single description of every single video, plus pinned in every single comment section to make it easier to find. All right, guys, let's jump into the tier list. All right, guys, we are back here again. So, tier list update. This is going to be a doozy just because we've had so much movement happen with the light team. There's so many differences that have occurred, so many changes that have manifested, and this is going to bring a lot of players that were in the bottom rungs up a little bit further, such as Akari, for example, a clear example of that, and other people who just pretty much were used only because people had them at high levels are now becoming back to being top tier, aka like Cha. So we're gonna do what we always do, guys. We're gonna start off with the usual D ranks. Most of these guys are gonna sit right here, and they're gonna be your SR units. Now, honestly, I've been saying this for months, and I really hope one day that we do see this come to fruition, that these SRs get a new evolution as well, not only for TP, but just some form of a game mode that would allow us to use some of these really fun characters in various different ways. I don't care if it's a brand new story mode specifically for SRs, or it's just content BOT for SRs, or like a Battlefield of Trial for SRs, not Battlefield of Time, Battlefield of Trials, or just a game mode where SRs are having the limelight. It'd be really cool, because one thing solo leveling doesn't do really well in the manhwa or the anime, and in this game, it's kind of, well, in this game actually do it better, but in the manhwa and the anime is they give other characters time to shine. It's always about Sanjinu, which as it should be, but there's times where it would be nice to see other characters come to light, and they have a lot of good personalities and diverse units out there. So anyways, this is how it's going to look. The only one that still really does any form of effect, in my opinion, is going to be Anna, and I take that back. Kim as well too. Kim is always useful just because of his heavy break. Outside of that, guys, everyone else you're really not going to use, especially with how generous the devs have been this time around. It doesn't make any sense to even use any SRs because you're getting so many SSRs for free, right? So let's just cover that. Okay, let's go into the B section. I'm going to put Choi here. Beck is going to go here as well too. Sorry, there's one other unit that goes in with these guys, and it's where is he? Dong Poo. Honestly, I don't even use him for anything anymore, so he's going to go right there. But honestly, it'd be really nice to kind of see him shine a little bit more. Wu's a little bit better, and I'll say, oh man, there we go. I think that's the right way to do it. All right, then we have Beck, we have Choi. I'm going to put Lim up here as well. Honestly, Lim's a little bit, he's still kind of shit, but honestly, he's one of the breakers have no place in the damn game anymore. It's so hard to rate them now just because they're not as viable anymore. Sorry, she belongs here as well too. Wrong place for her. We're gonna put Harper here as well, honestly. And again, Harper and Charlotte have just become useless at this point with the introduction of all these other units. And like I said, a lot of these units that they've introduced in the past are just really not having a place in the game anymore. It's almost like they could just press the delete button and nobody would even know they existed in the first place, which is very sad to see the state of some of these characters. But hey, that's how gachas work. And quite honestly, I have to give SLA a little bit more credit just because they do buff a lot of the older characters, which nobody would normally do in a game. So it's kind of nice to see some of these characters shine, but majority of these guys, you're not even looking at them anymore. Charlotte, I'll put an A at least just because she does a little bit of DPS. So let's go over the rest of this. We're going to put her here. We're going to put, let's see, who else am I looking at here? The A section is going to be like characters you'll still use here and there. I'll put Gina in there as well too. Honestly, Gina's probably one of the better ones. Honestly, Gunny got a pretty good buff, so he's going to go a little bit more love. Hansi May also had a buff, but not enough to really matter anymore. She's really honestly Team 2 buffer now for Win, for Guild Boss for the most part. You never use her or anything else. Malin also unfortunately got a little bit of a buff, but quite honestly, just still suffers. But I think she's better than Gina because of those said buffs. And I think Gina's going to get a pretty big buff when Liu comes out. I honestly can see it happening unless they somehow introduce a brand new support for fire and she all of a sudden takes over. Say Shuha's probably also A. Mini, I'll put S. Mayun, I'll put S as well, just because Light now has a little bit more going for it with the Infuser. So man, I don't know, bro. I'm going to put her in B. I never personally use her. I mean, I guess she's okay sometimes. Maybe we can put her in A, but honestly, yeah, she's kind of like lost in the mixes. And this is what I was talking about, collab units, right? Stark, I'll put an S. It's pretty decent damage for a breaker, but again, no real place for him. And eventually when they introduce Liu, he's just going to be an afterthought. Yuki, honestly, I still feel like she's top tier, but I think now because of the lack of needing of a breaker, she's kind of lost her place a little bit as well too. Yusuyon, I'll probably put S over here, and then Essel definitely gets SS right now, just because they did give her really good buffs, and she is actually pretty good. So see, someone like Alicia, who used to be an A and B, has now jumped over to SS due to her water buffs, and now she's a lot more of a viable character, and now sits second string DPS in the water team, right? Obviously next to Water Cha. And then we have someone like Goto, who I think still is, honestly, I'd say, pretty top tier, but unfortunately he just doesn't hold quite as much now with Reggie out, but I still put him in SS as a breaker. I really do hope breakers find a place in this game again. Isla, honestly, still SS. Still probably the best support in the game, except now Akari. Woo! Akari took a huge jump up there. Almost sounded like she took a huge dump. I think she's pretty much become a must-have for Light Cha at least, and she does also increase a lot of things that Antoine, I believe she even increases. Let me go back to the game real quick, guys. I'm actually, no, I'll double check later, but I'm pretty sure she does a lot better buffs now for Water Cha and as well for the whole team. So I think SS. Quite honestly, I think she deserves it. Mid, honestly, has now gone down to S. I feel like there's a lot more going on with him. I'll put him in S, though. I think Gunhimi might be a little bit better than him. Well, then we have, of course, Christopher Reed. When it comes down to infusers, guys, he probably irks me the most. Now, he does the most amount of damage, I'd say, out of like burst damage for any of the infusers, but he's still the slowest accumulation and the slowest infuser for gathering overload. That's really their whole purpose, right? Without that, they're not really serving what their jobs are meant to be. So unfortunately, I don't see him doing that well unless they give him a massive buff, and I can see that happening next patch, honestly. Laura, I'd say right over here, she is definitely good for Thomas, but isn't going to be the most well-rounded character for Cha, and Cha does incredibly well now in terms of damage. She's honestly on par with Thomas in some content. Thomas, I still think, has a little bit of a slight edge, and we'll talk more about that afterwards, but at least, you know, you still have some use for her. So, and of course for Water, still actually really good unit. Again, breakers need to have a better place in the game again for them to really be considered like essential. It's almost something they took away. They put elements in BOT. Bro, what are you guys doing? That was literally their niche. Now that that's in, they're gone practically. So, oh yeah, I forgot about Kana A, man. We'll have the mighty have fallen. She is honestly the best fire DPS still, but doesn't hold a stick at all compared to like some of the better DPS out there. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? Lee is coming, and I think they purposely are doing that to make sure that they can sell that national level hunter at the highest possible capacity. And I think it's going to do absolutely bonkers in terms of how good he is. All right, so, and then we have Mireille as well, too. I said Mireille is up here. I'll probably put Mireille like in this section right here. All right, and then lastly, I think what we're looking at here is Jinna. I personally still think Jinna is a damn good unit for buffing, especially for Leonard. She's almost a requirement to make Leonard as strong as he is. So I'm going to put her up here. I'm going to put Isla a little bit closer to here. She's not a requirement for Sung Hwan or SM Beck, but she's still really good. So I think right here, so the reason why a lot of these supports are going to be a little bit lower than Triple S is because one support pretty much does what none of them are able to do, and she does it better than anybody else, right? And we'll talk more about that as well when we get there. So okay, let's go up here now and let's talk a little bit about this list. All right, so Fern, top fire DPS, that hasn't changed. Leah's going to take that over. She'll be dropping, I think, a slot or two next patch, but for now, that's what it is. Freeren's still the best universal unit, and again, unless these two get more love in the next few months, I feel like they're going to be pretty much dead in the water, in my opinion. But we'll see how that goes. This comment might not age well, but that's just my opinion on it. Sung Hwan, best breaker / support for Dark by far. There's no question about it. Even he's phenomenal. And then we have ourselves what I'd say probably the next best Yeah, it's honestly tough because I enjoy Igris's gameplay more, but I think Reggie, once you dupe him far enough, actually builds Overload way faster. And I think he's more like, I don't know, he's more flashy, I guess. They're both really fun characters. They both played two different playstyles, but I do think Reggie has an edge right now over Igris as a overall infuser. But they're both phenomenal in their slots and for their elements. But nobody goes close to Mary. Mary destroys them like crazy in my opinion. So I think Mary Lane by far the best infuser in the game. I don't even think it's close. Not even close, guys. And if they're gonna model any other infuser to be as good as her, they should check her gameplay in my opinion and kind of model it after hers. I think she's absolutely like crazy good. All right, now we're gonna put on Leonard here obviously as the DPS right there. So we're gonna focus on DPS. I'm gonna put Cha right here next to him. SMX for Dark. Thomas 1 and 2 right now, just due to what they're able to. Antoine, in terms of infuser, I feel like he's not as good as Riegi and Mary Lane. Still a great unit. I just don't think she just quite as good. Elena for water is just, listen. All I'm going to say, the reason why she's so high up here, the reason why I'm putting her so high up here is because she's able to do what nobody else does as a support, and that's support overload damage as much as she does. So I feel like, you know what, she just does it better than everybody else. I should say it that way, okay? So you guys, I think Antoine does also as well for light, so I shouldn't say that. I think he's an infuser, not a support. So he kind of plays double the role. But I feel like she's probably in, I'd say right in this little area here. And then we have Water Cha, and then we have, what's his nuts? Song Juan. My God, I'm losing my mind here. So like you can really, depending on the element, right? It's really going to be these guys here for your DPS, your main infusers, of course, and then your support for water, and then whatever else you want to put support for water here, support for water here, or you can put obviously your infuser again, and any other support you want to work. Unfortunately, breakers just don't have a place, but some breakers have enough buffs like Sun Kahun who can bring enough to the table as a breaker and as a support to be considered the most viable option as your support as well too. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Very curious to see how you guys would have shaped this tier list. If you guys would make any changes, of course, let me know in the comment section. Please remember to like, subscribe, put those notifications on, get this channel to grow a little bit. We've been stuck at 109 for quite some time, actually. Jeez, I'm hoping to hit 110 soon. Thank you guys again for always. Remember to leave that like, support button for those free codes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.